Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Bonsai Blacksmith. Today we have Jaboticaba, or Jaboticabas as in Portuguese. They are endemic of the Mata Atlântica of Brazil. Um, their meaning is from a Tupi word, which means where you can find the tortoises, or some people think it's because the flesh of the fruit it grows looks like that of a tortoise fat. So that's kind of the etymology of the word and where it comes from. And it's called Plinia cauliflora, and the fruit actually grows on the trunk instead of growing on the branches. It's also known as the Brazilian grape tree because the fruit resembles that of grapes, but it does taste a little bit different. I think they're better than grapes. So let's go ahead and look at what we have here. This is nursery stock that had come in the other day, and they have different sizes. And I'm not sure if they're multi-trunk trees or they've just been grouped together. So I'm going to break these apart and get into the root system and see how many Jaboticabas I actually have. Let's go. So what I have here is a very small Jaboticaba, which may actually be several different ones as you can look a little close there. So let's liberate these from their casings and take my pen knife that I made earlier. You can watch the video on that if you're interested in seeing me forge these. Cut this right off. Peel this back. Now this is from northern Brazil. The soil is more red, more clay in it. I'm in the south end of Brazil, the south end of the Mata Atlântica. Things are a little different. So I would say there's a lot of fine roots here, but you can see how there's multiple trunks. So we got to figure out if that's one tree or multiple trees. I'm gonna guess there's like two there myself, but we'll see. Let's go ahead and take the next one. This bag is already coming apart. Now this soil is from a different nursery. This nursery is closer to me because the soil is black. That or they just purchased their substrate like I do. So, but chances are this is from a nursery from southern Brazil because they tend to use the darker soils because we have more European farming traditions here. There's more European colonists in southern Brazil, so we prefer that dark, rich soil for anything, whereas technically this is where the tree is used to growing in. This is the soil it's native to. So there's two. I think you'll probably go ahead and strip these two first and see where we're at. I'll give you a closer look on these. Closer look on those roots and then those trunks. So I got to separate those if they are separable. They are separate trees. This here, that soil is different as you can see. But I got a similar problem. I got multiple trunks in here, so I got to see what's going on. Taken care of here. We'll liberate the top of this tree from its bindings. We don't want this steadying pole. This is what was shipped with to protect it. We don't need that now. What we do need is my root hook. Slowly peel this back. This species has a very fine root, and that's why it's a great species for bonsai, because those fine roots radiate very, very nicely into a radial flat root pattern with a little bit of training. Very little convincing and needed for that. So again, I've got to be gentle. Again, fine roots. I just want to break up that root ball. I might have to wash this. We'll see how that goes. See how many trees are actually in here. Could just be one. That root ball broken up. I will try to reuse this nice rich soil. It is very nice. There we go. Take that up. Careful. Again, I'm just more of like piercing the root ball than dragging through it too much. The dragging tears those fine roots apart. So right now I'm just being gentle, shaking it. See? Just poke it like so. Let it, the vibrations do a lot of the work for you. And what you want to get out, if you want to keep going, you can wash these. I'll probably leave some of the original soil in there. Starting to feel like one tree, which is fine. It'll make an interesting bonsai. I have to decide if it's going into an air pot or if it's going to go into a large pot or right into the ground. Right now it's starting to look a lot like it's just one tree. Let's get in there a little finer and see what we can see. without hurting that. I don't want to hurt the bark. The bark is kind of sensitive to the root hook here, so I'm going to be careful with that. Yeah, I think this is actually just a bunch that maybe grew together, but it definitely is acting like one tree. Like I can't really pull that apart. Well, maybe I can. Let's see. Well, maybe I can pull that apart. Well, folks, it looks like we do have multiple trees here. They were just put together in a grouping, which is beneficial because you'll get more of a yield if you're producing with these. But now I'm afraid of causing a lot. I'm going to go ahead and wash this to get these to come apart, so I'll be right back. So this is what those roots look like washed. You can see we have 4 individual trees here. I'm going to have it 1, 2, 3, and 4. The little guy here. So I'm going to separate those and go from there. Most of these are probably going to end up in the soil. So now, I'm just going to move this aside for now so I can focus on separating these roots, these 3 trees together. I am going to avoid the cutting. I'm just going to try to spin them apart from each other here. See if I can't get a little bit of purchase that way. The rolling seems to work back and forth to help get these curves to let go, because they've wrapped around each other, you see. So I don't want to cause lots of damage. I can avoid it. These are thoroughly washed, but not completely washed. Keep doing this dance until they come over. Oh, I could cut these, but these roots are important, especially higher up, because that's where I want my radial roots to go. So it's important that we try to keep those intact as much as possible. That's why I'm doing this weird rolling technique, just to help unspin them. But I don't think we're going to get much more purchase here. I think we're going to have to get aggressive. Yeah, that's what happens when you grow them in a bunch, but sometimes it's advantageous for these. Like I said, for production, that's good. If you want to do a bunch bonsai, that makes sense too. But for this, I was looking for more of a single tree, maybe a double trunk tree, but this is definitely not that. Now, over time, this would have grown together, sure. That would have been a nice bunching. But not what this tree is destined to be. Or trees, I should say now. So I'm going to get down in here some more. Use my fingers, get down and dirty. Sometimes their hands are your best tools. Help. It's kind of almost like weaving, kind of like running down the strands. We got to break a few now at this point. We're at the point where we're breaking a few. There's 1. There's 2. Really careful, little guy. He needs all the roots he can get. There's just some root material from somebody, I'm not sure. Well, I don't know about that one, but I'll definitely put it in the ground and see what happens. So there's our 4, just from the one package. Now this guy also came from the same nursery, so there's probably 2 in here as well. So let's keep going and see what we got to work with. So let's take a look at what this nursery stock looks like. I'm going to break up this root ball. Same method before. Stab into it instead of raking through it. My suspicion is this is multiple trees as well. But that will probably be okay, because this smaller grouping is something I want to use for my Bonsai Forest, my Mata Atlantica forest. I have for those who don't know, a Bonsai Forest is a bunch of bonsai trees in the same pot to mimic a forest. And there's a few ways to go about designing those, originating from the Chinese tradition of Penjing. But we'll get into that later. I'll make a separate video about that. But right now, we're just going to focus on breaking up this massive root ball, and hitting it a little harder now because of the clay content is substantial here. Get the largest pieces destroyed. There you go. It's starting to break up now. I feel it in my hands. It's starting to crumble some. Don't drag. Keep poking. Don't poke too deep, because those tap roots are in there. I want to keep those intact for now so the trees can regain their vigor after replanting. And then we can play with those root systems once the trees have established themselves both in the soil that they're in and the conditions around them, like the climate they're in. Because this is a slightly different climate than they're used to. Not terribly different, but it is different. It is also more maritime here. We got that sea air, something to consider. and I end up spraying off that sea residue, the salt, leftover salt as it evaporates from the sea mist. You got to take those off your plants. Added challenges of having a bonsai garden or any garden near the sea. Now you can see we've gotten this condensed now. We've got roots everywhere. Great sign. Break this up some more. Keep going. A bit of a process here. Thank you for bearing with me. Hopefully you find this is interesting. If you do, consider liking and subscribing. Everything helps. Encouragement is always nice. So we're almost there. Got some more clay nodules here we're going to break up. But we're almost to where we need to be. I can feel a very large woody mass in the middle here. Like I said, I'm going to probably keep these together. I'm not going to go ahead and take them apart. So I do want a bunching, a grouping for my forest, and this is perfect because they're small and very ramified. You see how ramified that is already up top. Just trim that up and be good to go. But right now, that's looking pretty decent. I'm going to squeeze out some of that clay with my hands because I want to put my bonsai substrate in here and trim the roots a little bit. They're a little long for the bonsai forest. Maybe get them spread out and raked out in a radial pattern. See if I can't pull this away. Confirm my suspicions. It feels like multiple tap roots if I had to be honest with you already. This just seems to be the nature of these. Well, in nature, since the fruit grows on the trees, trunks, they all fall at the base and they grow in groupings anyway naturally. So you do see them in groupings. Yeah, I got two very easy to get at trees right here, see? One tree right there. And then another one right here. There's two. I'm going to leave these two together. Actually, they are one. It's separated. So these are actually, that is one tree. Nope, that's a lie. Lies and slander. That is two trees as well. So there you have it. Well, I'm going to bunch these back together. Yes. Yes, I am. I'm definitely going to do that. Do I have a piece of wire handy here? I do. So I'll take some wire and put them together before putting them in the bonsai forest. For now, they're going in the pot of water so I can break up my last bundle of Jaboticabas right here. So let's go ahead and do that. It's a marathon. We're going to go right into this one. It's okay if this is mixed together. It's all good soil. Now it's even better soil. Put some perlite in there. Maybe some basalt. Be a half decent substrate for... here's a big battle. Substrate. Should drain well, yes. Depending on your lifestyle, like sometimes you want some substrates to hold more nutrients, hold more moisture. Also depends how your pot's designed. Depends how much you're tending your plants. You know, it depends what type of pot, again, what type of pot it is. If it's an air pot, it's drying out faster. If it's a traditional deep pot, you don't have, you know, there's a lot of considerations, but I like real soil mixed with a little bit more like rocky material and perlite just to help with the drainage and help with holding that material. So I will add perlite and basalt to this. Let's go ahead and open up this one. Excuse me. This has also got a good problem of having lots of fine roots as soon as you open it up. There we go. Good problem to have. Put that out there. Go ahead and break up this root ball. I might be able to do this by hand completely here. Let's see. Yeah, we're going to need some little hook action for that in places. Yep, same as before. No dragging, just poking. There we go. Oh yeah, almost done. This is almost there. Very loose soil from this nursery here. I appreciate it. More fertile, more loamy. See, you can just literally shake that out. There we go. It's okay just to shake that. Sometimes it's easier and better for the roots. I'll clean up this mess later. But yeah, here we go. We have definitely two separate trees here. It's going to require a little bit of root hook action in between them. There's a clump. All right. Still a clump. I think the tap roots are intertwined with each other. I'll spray that out. Let's see if the water will help me get that. There we go. Wash that junction clean so I can see what's going on there. See? Quite a mess. I'm not even sure if that's from the same. Nah, that comes right out. There it is. Boom. Main tree, little tree. So I'm going to go ahead and put those in the water bucket as well. So they're all in this water bucket now. Maybe about an inch of water, 2 or 3 centimeters of water on the bottom. We keep these in here until they're ready for potting, which we're going to pot throughout the day. And I'll show you how I do that. So here we have the tree I picked that I'm going to put into this small pot. I'm going to do a little root pruning here and start training it to have radial roots. And then I'll probably maybe even put in a bigger pot. This is kind of small to allow this to grow fast. But I don't really care. I'm not in a rush. I'm a bonsai artist, right? So I got all the time in the world. And if I don't, somebody else has after me, right? So I'm going to take about 40% of this roots off. And I'm going to keep it moisturized a little bit. Take about 40% of that off. Rake these roots out radially. And leave this 90-degree bend in there and see if I can't get more roots to propagate out the side here. So let's go ahead and put some soil in this first. I got some perlite mixed in there. So put some of this right here now. Lay that out. So that's a good start. Now we're going ahead and cut that 40% off I want to take off, like so. Not a big enough cutting to do a root cutting, unfortunately. That goes in the fire pit. Now, we'll go ahead and see if I can't very gently rake these out. Now, I know you masters out there say, Sam, just cut that. I'm like, all right, I will. I felt you. I felt the disturbance in the force. So it's more of a 50% pruning, but most of the fine roots and radial roots are still intact. As you can see, they're still intact. So putting this down, we really don't have a great radial root structure. You know, we don't. But I want to develop that, and I'll keep shortening this down as the radial roots develop on the top. Now we want to cut a little bit of them so they ramify. You want these to ramify as much as possible. So let those ramify with the cutting. Works just like branches do. I'm going to set this. I'm going to also trim the top, so don't worry. I'm going to set this in like so, and to see. We don't really care about the front, back, or side of the tree right now. We just want the tree to grow and become prosperous in the pot we're putting it in. So I'm just going to go ahead and place some more of this perlite loamy soil compost mix. Let's see where we're at. Try not to make too much of a mess. The soil has already been moistened, so it makes it a lot easier to place the tree in there. The wind's going to try to play with me right now, so I'll stay on top of that. I want to pack out any air gaps. Now you'll see people with like a stick or a chopstick get in here, knock the air bubbles out, but this pre-moistened composted soil really doesn't have any business for air pockets, and it does pack down real well by hand. So you can do it that way, especially with a small tree like this. I'm going to go ahead and put some more soil in here. Because it's going to settle over time. And help encourage those roots to grow higher up on that trunk. I might even mix some rooting hormone in with my waterings for the first couple weeks just to encourage the roots to grow in this pot. I think we've got where we want it to be right now. Nice and packed in there. Not too tight, but packed in there. Let me go ahead and clean this up. Let's trim this tree. So this tree has the opportunity of being a cascade, I think. This here, we could, if we planted this more of an angle like so, which if we tilt it up, this could be a cascade, see, over time, or this branch. That's one idea. We do have a couple branches coming out of the same point, so I don't know if that's going to be advantageous. It's a very long, something we don't want in bonsai is a very long run here before it does anything dynamic. Hello, friend. What are you doing? Yeah, come with me. Let's go. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and just cut that off because I don't like how that looks. I'm not sure if it's going to backbud. I believe there is a backbud starting right here. I don't know if you can see that right there. So what I might do, just for now, is cut above that. I'm not sure on the dieback. Go ahead and get that. There it goes. Big cut. Not really big enough to do anything with that, so that goes in the burn pit. And let's see what else we got here for cuts. It's a long run here. I'm going to go ahead and cut that. See if this will. It's a very, very long run. I'm going to go ahead and just cut that. That's gone. And believe it or not, I'm actually probably just going to go ahead and cut this too, right above the node. And see how that grows, and hopefully in this direction I'll set it like this, and that's my plan for that tree. Give you a better look on that. Show you what I did there. It is a pretty hard pruning, but necessary. There's some leaves I could probably remove that are facing in, but I'm going to put some sealant on these now and go from there. Go ahead and place that sealant on there. A little bit right there. Like so. Apply it on there. Get this one here. And get this one here. There we go. That's all sealed up. So here we have that one Jaboticaba that I planted for you in the video, and that's going to go ahead and be set on the bench. Here is one that I started a few months ago in a bonsai pot. You can see they started roughly around the same size, so it's almost doubled in trunk thickness. I'm going to prune this back in a few weeks. It's got some new growth here, so stay tuned for that video. Just wanted to show you. But again, thank you for hanging in there with me. If you're curious about the other Jaboticabas, I'm going to be putting them into a bonsai forest and into the ground. I'll be making videos for them. So consider liking and subscribing, and stay tuned for the next one. Thanks again.